What's up, y'all? On the Pursuit podcast, and as you can see, I'm in a hurricane. And today's episode is gonna be epic. I got my guy Carter, and him and I've been trying to get together for a while, but we just couldn't make it happen. But today is the day. He has no idea what he's walking into, and it's gonna be a crazy episode for you guys. So literally, I'm in this beautiful car, and I'm at the showroom. Exotics out. Shout out to my guy Ali, Cornelius, and Elmer for letting me do the pod in their showroom today. And make sure that you guys tap in. This is gonna be a crazy episode. What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. On this podcast, we connect with 6, 7, 8-figure entrepreneurs on the pursuit of making impact on whether that's financial impact, social impact, or just impact on the inside.
Or all the above.
Or all of the above. You know what I'm saying? And today, I got a special guest. We've been trying to do this for, 4 months, 5 months?
Too long.
For a while. Actually, since April.
Yeah.
Since April. So April.
Long.
Yeah, it's been a minute, but we finally been able to lock it down. And I thought we was going to do it in LA. And he probably thought we was going to do it in LA, but we are actually in Orange County right now.
Yeah. I mean, you know what's dope? I always wanted to come visit Orange County. I'm not from LA. So I'm from Chicago.
Neither am I.
Yeah. So I'm like, any chance I get to explore this huge state, or the state of California, I'm like, yo, take me there. So I'm happy I got to come out to OC and you got us to this beautiful place. So I'm all ears. I'm happy to be here.
So listen, man, my man right now, Carter Cofield, bro. Welcome to the podcast.
I'm happy to be here, bro.
And listen, you're somebody that's helping entrepreneurs basically understand taxes on a higher level so they can actually keep more of the money that they create.
Yep. As entrepreneurs, we're taught to go make money.
Yeah.
Which we need to do.
Yep.
Right? But nobody ever talks about keeping the money too.
Yeah.
Keeping the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So, I saw a unique opportunity, especially Black entrepreneurship is huge right now, which is, in my opinion, is a beautiful thing. Right? And me being a CPA, I spent 10 years helping people that don't look like me keep hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So when I saw an opportunity to help my own people, I'm like, bet, say less.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask you, man. How long have you been actually, in the category? So it's been a decade.
Yeah.
And,
so I came out the gate as an accountant. So here's what happened. I'm honest. I haven't told the story that often.
Yeah.
So I've always been good with numbers because I want to know how money worked because I didn't ever have it coming from the south side of Chicago. I'm like, yo, it's money out here. I don't know where it's at. We don't got it, but it's out here somewhere. So I went to study money, and I graduated high school during the recession, during the 08-09 recession. So I'm like, yo, I'm watching my aunt lose her job. I'm watching everybody around me lose their job. Gas is high. So I'm like, yo, I got to figure out a profession that I will never be unemployed. So I literally went to the library in school and Googled what job has the lowest unemployment rate in finance. And accounting CPA was number one. It had a 0.2% unemployment rate.
That's crazy.
At all times. Yeah. So even during the worst recession, it's somebody gonna need you. Yeah. Everybody need to learn about their money and get their taxes and get their accounting together. So I was like, oh, bet, that's what we do.
That's crazy. So you went to the library.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know what that is. You want to break that down real quick for people that are unfamiliar with a library?
Bro, for the kids out there, everybody didn't have a laptop, bro. You know what I'm saying? So the library in high school was where the books, which people didn't really go there for, but it was where the computers were in the school. So it's I need to my guidance counselor, what you gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure something out. And I knew being a breadwinner for my family. So my parents passed when I was in high school. So my mom died when I was 14. My dad died when I was 16.
Mine's kind of similar.
Yeah? Oh, you talked about that.
I didn't really know my dad like that. I seen him a couple times, but he passed away when I was 12. My mom passed away when I was 15. And my grandmother was actually my guardian. She passed away when I was 16. You know what I'm saying? So very similar.
Okay, let's pause my story. This is important. How do you feel that affected you?
I think that it affected me in a major way, obviously, bro. Yeah. You don't get your parents, and you don't have the one person who basically was like your mom. And the funny thing about it now, when I go back and think about it, my grandmother passed away the year after my mother, but that 16 years that I spent with her seemed like it was like double that, because she made that much of an impact on me within that time. But yeah, bro, like, you know, I learned to drive with no parents around. You know what I'm saying? They didn't come to none of my basketball games because they weren't around. They didn't see me graduate. Like none of the moments that you would have. You know what I'm saying? There was no one that would come. Now, my grandmother's sister, my aunt, you know what I'm saying? Like she was still around, and she actually passed away, but when I was in my early 20s. But we were all in the house. Like they got together and bought a house. They moved from Jersey to Boston. They bought a 3-decker, and grandmother lived on 2, aunt lived on 3, uncle lived on 1, passed away as well. So basically, like, all in that crib was my whole family, and I moved from Jersey to Boston. My mom and me, we, you know, like my mom was born in Boston. I was born in Boston. But like they all deceased by the time I was like in my early to mid 20s. So like I'm in that crib pretty much by myself, and that's a whole other story. But I mean, you know, to kind of get back to your original question, it definitely impacted me a lot because like my whole mindset, you know what I'm saying? Like at that age, I just looked at everything very different.
Yeah, so I'm curious. I never met nobody, and we'll get to taxes in a second, y'all. But this is important. I personally never met nobody who's been through what I've been through. For me, it like when my dad died, it was a moment where it was like, all right, both parents gone, bro. Like I got my sister, my auntie, but like this situation is either gonna make you or it's gonna break you. But like I had a choice. At least I feel like I had a choice on how this situation was gonna affect me. And I remember like crying. So my dad died when I was in junior high school. I remember crying on my ACT book. And I was like, I'm gonna use this moment to define my future. Like this situation not gonna break, whatever it takes. And when I tell people who always feel like bad about or feel sad for me, I'm like, yo, respectively, I've made it the best thing that ever happened to me because it made me grow up at 16. Like everybody else kicking it, playing. I don't got time for that, bro. I got no plan B. Only got plan A. If this don't work, nothing gonna work. So it gave me this intensity, dog. This drive, this fire, this motivation, and you know, I feel like it made me who I was today. If that didn't happen, I don't know if I would be as successful as I am right now because it was not a choice of fail. I couldn't fail.
No. I see. I can identify with that 100% because like. There's certain choices that you make or don't make when you're younger, and I feel like a lot of people do make that, and that's like getting involved in drugs, alcohol, gangs, or just like different type of behavior or whatever the case may be. And like I shut all that down. Like I didn't even like get introduced to none of that. Like every time it was like a party and they're like, yeah, you trying to drink, trying to smoke, it was always no. Like I didn't really have my first drink till I was like 34. You know what I'm saying? Like I just wasn't into it. Plus, I just didn't like I just didn't like doing what other people was doing. Yeah. So like you put that on top, it's like that's what they know, and I ain't trying to do it.
I feel like you're operating on a higher frequency because like life is not all fairy tales and
no, it's not.
And you know what I'm saying? It's not. So you know how rough life can be. So you just like, man, I don't got time for that right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like adversity, if you allow it to be, can be your one of your biggest advantages. I'm big on perspective, so like, yeah, that sucks. But I still get to choose how I respond to that situation.
You get to choose how you respond to every situation. I think that's the most beautiful thing about life because literally all your experiences are really experiences happen to your real life, but they live here first. So like if you get in a car accident, it's like, and let's say, and hopefully God forbid you good. You get in a car accident, the car accident over like that. But it can live in here for like years, bro. You know what I'm saying?
You replay it over and over.
That's what I'm saying. So the adversity that you speak about, to me, I'm processing it like you have to get over here first. Because if you don't, it'll literally play forever. And it's like you keep running into the same, manifestation type of experience, maybe in a different form, that's gonna end in the same result because you haven't resolved this here. And it's like the same thing when people they're out looking for someone and it don't work, but then they meet the same exact person in someone else's form and run into the same situation and it don't work because you ain't changed the situation that you were presented that you should have learned from. You just avoided it or you put it on the other person. You didn't take your responsibility and now you're replaying it with someone else.
Man, that's so deep, bro. And like, I just started doing therapy when I turned 30. Because I was like, I used the trauma as motivation, but I never fully got over it.
Yeah.
Because it fueled me. I'm like, yo, if I can use it as fuel, like, I don't want to deal with it right now. I'm gonna just use it as motivation to become successful. But when I turned 30, I was like, all right, now I need to unwind and see like why I am the way I am. And it just taught me so much about just, who I am as a man and kind of like you said, like if we are replaying the same things in our head over and over again, our mind doesn't know the difference between the activity actually happening and us picturing it happening. So if I'm playing something over and over again in my head and I don't notice it, I'm not putting myself in the right mental state. And that's something I have to get over with different businesses, especially with women, because I don't want to attach myself to nobody anymore. I understand that anybody important to me can be taken away at any moment. So it gave me crazy detachment issues. I don't want to get too close to nobody because I know you can take away from me.
Bro, I experienced the same thing. Oh my dog. Yo, 100%. Like, I could not have any relationships with women like that were sustainable because I was afraid of the attachment. Because literally every single person that was close to me, something happened to all of them. Every single one, bro. Even like, I got two brothers. One of my brothers got shot, you know what I'm saying, when I was 27. One of my best friends, like we grew up playing basketball. He was a sneakerhead before I knew about sneakerheads. He had all of the foam pots. He had the pennies, bro. He had all the ones, bro. He had everything. He had the Barclays. He had the what was the joints with the straps? The air raids. He had everything. And we used to always hoop together. I'm from Boston, so he had a pool back in Rosendale, so we used to always go to the pool. And we went to like this a public high school, but it was like all white school, but it was like 45 minutes outside of Boston. It was in this program called the MECO program. It basically took inner city kids, bused them to the suburbs or whatever. But he passed away too. But what happened with him is he got caught up in drugs. Like he got caught up in the Oxycontin, and he was with the wrong crowd. He OD'd. They bounced on him. They just left him. You know what I'm saying? So I fully identify with not being able to, sustain growing up like real solid attachments with people, like even in my 20s, early 30s, because I think that was traumatic. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It was traumatic. It's like literally like the closest one to me, something's gonna happen. So I'm gonna just, if you're gonna get as close as you're gonna get, we're not close enough.
It's a safety guard, right? Yeah, and I didn't realize it was something that I was doing. I thought it was just who I was as a person. No, I'm protecting myself from feeling that pain again. Yeah. And that's why I think, as men, any men out there, like, go to therapy, figure that shit out. Like, ain't nothing cool about like just being hard for no reason. Like, at least know why and have some awareness, fam. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then you can now ask yourself the question, is this a habit or a personality trait that I want to have, or is it something I just have by happenstance? Yeah. And I feel like, having that choice.
So, bro, we having a little session right now. We talk about taxes.
Yeah, okay. It was important. I had to know. But
I appreciate that because it's like the message is for somebody. Somebody right now listening and watching. You know what I'm saying? You may be going through something similar. You may be having similar thoughts. But this message clearly was for you. Yeah. We ain't playing this out.
And I realize that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. So for me, I love giving my story first because like I want you to know who I am as a person before you go listen to it. I can give you the tax game. I can help you save money and all that stuff. But I still want you to know who I am as a person because once you know who I am and you know how much I care for you, and how much I want you to see, my advice is going to be that much more pressing for you.
Nah, that's facts, bro. I really don't think I could have said it better than that. You really set the stage with that. What's up, y'all? It's Brennan Boy, and one of the best things that has helped me go to the next level is powerful affirmations. I would say them every single day, literally when I open my eyes. So I put together these powerful affirmation cards to help you get to the next level, right? With powerful statements like, I live in abundance, or statements like, I'm not a prisoner of my limiting beliefs. Now, if you say these things to yourself every single day using the power of repetition, you're gonna believe the things that you wanna achieve. So look, grab your affirmation deck or your manifestation deck or your money manifestation deck. Let's grow your mindset and let's get you to the next level, right? Click that link below, grab your cards, let's go. So let's get to the point. Let's get to the point.
Let's get to saving the bag. Y'all ready to save the bag?
he don't know. I really like just like lured him into a whole situation. So like, what was your first impression coming into the space?
It's funny. I got out the car and I'm like, I see exotic on the door. I'm like, exotic what? And I see like the rental. I'm like, this is an exotic car dealership. Walk in, Lamborghinis. I'm like, oh, my man set the stage. It's crazy because I'm actually looking to get a Lambo for tax purposes, which I'll teach y'all about in a second. But it's just so crazy. He gave me a crazy connect on a Lambo that I might end up getting. So
he basically called us talking about manifesting a Lambo, and like, I think again, this is just like you living it by example. It's like you got a thought in your mind, and I always relate it back to driving, especially at nighttime, because you can only see 10 feet ahead of you, but you got to keep going.
Yeah.
So you had a thought in your mind, like, I need to, for tax purposes, purchase a car. I think I may want to purchase a Lambo. You didn't know we was going to be here. You didn't know there was going to be a hurricane here. Mm-hmm. You didn't know that you had mentioned that you wanted to possibly look at a Urus, and then there'd be an opportunity. Crazy deal. One with the crazy deal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So why don't we actually start off with the Lambo play? So why would someone look at buying an exotic that help them for tax purposes? Like, how could this actually help somebody and save money for them?
Gotcha. Let me set the stage first, because I think it's important, and I want to be extremely thorough in this interview. Right?
I love that.
So first of all, y'all, let me tell y'all something about taxes if y'all haven't heard about it. Like, I was raised, like, the tax code is like taxes are scary. You just pay and look away. Don't ask no questions. IRS ain't people you're trying to play with. Like, pay your money to them people and keep it moving. And it was until I became an adult when I understood that the tax code is nothing to be scared of, bro. The tax code is nothing to be scared of. All the tax code is an incentive system created by the government, so that we will do their job for them and they won't have to do anything.
That's a good way to look at it.
Right? It's just, they're like, okay, if you do what we want you to do, we'll give you some tax breaks. If you do a lot of the things we want you to do, we'll give you a lot of tax breaks. If you do everything we want you to do, bro, we'll let you live tax-free. And I'm like, yo, I'm sitting in my first tax class like, you mean to tell me that if we just simply understand the rules of the game and do what the government wants us to do, that we can circumvent the number one expense that we have? Like, most people don't realize the number one expense you have is taxes. Mm-hmm. The average person pays 51% in taxes. Federal tax, state tax, FICA tax, self-employment tax, property tax, estate. Sales, bro, you're going to pay 51% of the money you make in taxes. And imagine this, dog. Imagine this. People don't understand this, especially y'all working hard, right? Like, working hard 9 to 5 or whatever. Imagine this, the first 6 months of the year, you're working for free. Because if you pay 50% of your money in taxes, the first 6 months of the year,
that's a good point.
You working free. The last 6 months, you working for yourself. So you leaving your kids to go work, you leaving your family, you putting in all these hours in the first 6 months of for free. That's too much. I'm not working for free for 6 months. So I decided to get smart and understand how taxes work so that I can eliminate them from me and the people around me.
So when you say that 51% and that half, so you put that together once you understood, like, that's the chunk of taxes that people would be subject to. Mm-hmm. And then obviously looking at the landscape, there's 12 months in a year. So technically, you would be working for free.
How much better would your life be if you had 50% more money that you work for?
Well, let me ask y'all something, especially y'all that are watching and listening. Like, have you ever thought about it like that? Because he's kind of laid it out really crazy. Like,
it's scary, bro. Like,
so January to June, it don't even matter.
Doing stuff, bro.
You just out here. You just out here.
You know what I'm saying?
So from July to the end of the year, that's when you really start.
That's when you actually.
And that's if you actually are cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Because some people aren't saving money at all for taxes. So at the end of the year, they get hit the back.
Yeah, that's crazy. So once I understood that, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me teach the people how to. Now that we know the problem, right? Let's fix it, right? So number one, everybody at home needs to know is that the tax code is made to benefit entrepreneurs and investors, okay? If you only have a W-2 job, I tell people all the time, you can't win the game of taxes if you're on the wrong team. And so if you only have a W-2 job, you're on the wrong team. You can't win the tax code. You can't win the tax game because the code is not made for you. It's made for entrepreneurs and investors. People are like, well, that's not fair. I'm like, well, I didn't say it was fair, but like, here go the rules. People that say, why is it made for entrepreneurs and investors? It's simple. As an entrepreneur, every job that I create is one less job the government has to create, right? Every job that I create is one less person that the government has to pay for unemployment. So I'm doing their job for them. Same thing with real estate. If you're investing in real estate, investing in stocks, for every dollar you employ into the economy, that's one less dollar they have to print, right? So you're doing their job for them. And like I said before, if you do their job for them, they'll give you massive tax breaks. So I think step one for most people, the easiest step is to start a business, start a side hustle. Because once you start the side business or the business, a lot of your personal expenses immediately become business expenses. And one of those expenses being your car. You know what I'm saying? So now that we understand that, now we can talk about the Lamborghini play, right? So even if you get a car in your personal name, the IRS doesn't care whether you get the car in your personal name or your business name. All the IRS cares about is, do you plan on using this vehicle for at least 50% business use? That's it. Like, are you planning to use this vehicle at least 50% business use? And when people ask me, like, is it really possible to find 50% business use for your vehicle? I say it's very simple. If you take a customer to dinner, or you drive to a customer lunch, or you take a business partner out to dinner, or you're picking up supplies for your business, all these times you're using your vehicle is business use. And the easiest way for you all at home, if you record content in or around your vehicle, it now turns your personal vehicle to a business vehicle, because now you're creating content for your business in front of your car. I shoot ads in and around my car all the time, because I'm teaching people how to run out their car in front of my car. So now my car has an ability to make me money. And the IRS says that if that's the case, that car is now a business vehicle that I can write off the expenses associated.
So all you podcasters out there, if you are using your car to go to a studio, go to an on location, you got your equipment and you're filming in or around it, that counts too?
That counts. Or you can get your podcast logo on the car. Yep. Now your car is advertising expense versus auto expense. So it's different ways that you can play it when it comes to turning your personal vehicle into a business vehicle. But most people just don't know that that's possible in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think that, like, if you could find ways to drive your dream car and write it off on your taxes, why wouldn't you do it?
So how does that actually work then? So somebody's going out. So you mentioned earlier, right, that you think about buying a vehicle. So somebody's going to go out, buy an expensive vehicle, and then now what do they do?
Okay, so first of all, let me say this. Don't buy a car that you can't afford just to write it off on your taxes. Don't play yourself like that. You want to be in a certain tax bracket to buy a certain car, right? Because you still have to pay for the car, right? So we're not buying nothing that we can't afford just to write off on taxes. But let me just pay.
I'm glad that you said that.
People don't say that.
You still got to make sure that, you're purchasing the car.
You know what I'm saying? I still got to pay for it, man.
I just want to make sure people know.
Yeah. So do not buy a car that you can't afford just to write off on your taxes. You're playing yourself. You know what I'm saying? But once you get to a certain income level, it can make sense. So I can just paint you an example. Let's say you're making $100,000 net income in your business. That means income after expenses is $100,000, right? Now, when you get a car, you can write off a lot of expenses associated with the vehicle. You can write off the interest on your car note. You can write off your car insurance. You can write off car washes, gas, insurance, repairs, oil change. So all these expenses that you'll be paying for in your personal vehicle anyway, you now can move those expenses to your business account. But the biggest deduction that most people need to learn about is a deduction called depreciation. And that's basically the IRS saying, like, hey, like, if you buy a vehicle, let's say you buy a brand new vehicle, drive it around the block, you're not going to get what you just paid for. Yeah, because the car is a depreciating asset. So the IRS gives you a tax break for your car losing value over time. And if your car weighs over 6,000 pounds, like the Lamborghini Urus, you can write off the full cost of the vehicle the year that you finance it. So let's say you had $100,000 in net income and you went to buy a Urus. The Urus costs $250,000. You get a $250,000 write-off that year. So now you went from having $100,000 in net income to $0 in net income, right? Because you're able to write off the full cost of the vehicle. And what's so dope about that is now you still have $150,000 of deduction that you can use next year.
That's what I was going to ask. So what happens to the other 150?
Exactly. So you get that. So it's called the carry forward rule. You can carry forward losses in your business indefinitely. So you can carry forward losses
Indefinitely.
Yes, but they gonna run out before indefinitely.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
so like that 150, technically you could bring it for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
if
depending on how much money you have. So the reason I'm looking for a Lamborghini right now is, let's say my net income in my business was $200,000. If I get a Lambo, so first of all, if I don't get a Lambo and I make $200,000 in net income, I'm gonna have to pay like $80,000 to $90,000 in taxes, depending on 40 to 50% tax rate. That's a lot of money. I'm not trying to pay that. Yeah. Or I can put like 50 or 60 down on a Lamb and take my income from 200 down to 0. So now I just wiped out all the income this year, and I still got $50,000 in losses to carry forward next year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's the car play. Like, again, if you don't have the net income, it doesn't make any sense. So please,
so you can still do that. You could do the same play with somebody that was making a lot less, getting a less expensive.
It doesn't have to be a Lamborghini. It can be like, you can be making $50,000 net income and get a Range Rover for $60K. And now you just wiped out all your income, and you get the dope part is you still get to drive the car of your dreams, which is most people not realize, like, that's still a benefit as well.
So what are some of the craziest plays that you learned becoming more knowledgeable about taxes when you were first starting? Like, what are some of the things you just was like, yo, this is crazy at that point? Maybe there's still some things you're finding out now, but what are some of the most craziest things that people just don't know? But if they just got more familiar with the tax code?
Yeah, man. It's a few.
Because the car play is already crazy.
It's already crazy. And I want to correct something. I think you can carry it forward 20 years, not indefinitely. I don't want to say
20 years sounds pretty indefinite.
Yeah, it's gonna run out before. But like, just people will be like, comments, hey man, he's saying like,
make sure y'all do y'all research.
Yeah. Because it's a lot to learn. But 2 plays that stand out to me. One is the ability to write off clothes. Right, so like the IRS is normally like super against writing off clothes. Like, if it's not a costume, you cannot write it off of your taxes. But there was a recent court case study of this gentleman who had a suit company. He was making suits, and he was getting his logo stitched on all his suits, so people would know whose suits they are. Right?
Was the logo on the outside or the inside?
It was on the outside.
Oh, okay.
So he had like a lapel, and I think on the wrist as well. And he was writing off his suits on his taxes, like. And the IRS was like, you can't do this, fam. So it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And his reasoning was like, yo, every time I go out and wear these suits, people ask me who made them. And I can just I can point to my logo. And then moments later, they're in my DMs, or they're emailing me, or they're on my website buying stuff. So like, my suits literally make me money.
It's allegiant.
It's allegiant. So the IRS, they deemed the case in his favor and said, you can't write it off as clothing expense, but you can write it off as advertising expense.
Oh.
Because you're a walking advertisement for your business. So, for instance, my company.
It's like he wrapped himself.
Exactly. Wrapped himself. So, so I own a company called Melon and Money. And so now I'm not wearing nothing if it's not my brand. Because we spend money on other people's names.
Bro, can we spend some time there?
Okay, let's talk about it. It's crazy, especially as a people. Like, we so worried about spending money on our heads than in our heads. Like, I'm saying? We so worried about spending money on our body than in our body. And it's crazy. But like, why would I spend $1,000 wearing somebody else's name? I can't get a write-off. It's not helping me out. Or you can spend $50, $100 wearing your own name, your own brand, that can bring recognition to your business. I don't understand why more people don't do it.
And podcasters, how would you like to make 5 or 6 figures with your podcast? Did you know that most podcasters do not make any revenue? It's because they think they need brand deals, sponsorships, and a large audience to monetize your show. But what if I told you don't need none of that? There's a simple 4-step framework to position your show to be monetized. And I can give it again completely for free. All you need to do is head over to podcast2profits.live, and I'll see you in this exclusive training. I'm gonna give you all the game. What are you waiting for? Head over to the training, let's go.
We were just really talking about the whole expensive clothes, right? And then, you mentioned spending $1,000 on something, but it's like, it's not really helping you, right? And it's really promote somebody else's family, somebody else's brand. So one of my biggest things is like, especially when it comes to high-end clothing, I'm definitely not spending no bread on Balenciaga, on And this is no offense to anyone that likes that stuff.
This is your opinion.
This is me. Louis V, Gucci, I'm not doing none of that. If I was to do that, I would rather spend it on a black high-end designer, which I feel like they're few and far between on that stage for us to know about. I know y'all are out there, and if you are, please drop it in the DM, because I would invest in that if I'm gonna spend high-end money. But to your point, I would personally rather spend $50, $100 on my brand to promote myself or promote my business. But then at the same time, you could design your own high-end stuff.
Yeah. I mean, only person that has to believe it's high-end is the person paying for it.
That's all that matters.
There's no difference in the fabric of a Louis V sweater versus a Gap sweater. And it might actually be cheaper because they're smart as far as manufacturing. But it is a thing in our culture that's so dominant. Yeah. And I get it. And I was having a conversation with my homie before. I'm like, yo, you know the reason why people wear expensive clothing is because if you have a Balenciaga shirt on, I know you paid $1,000 for that. Right. And I'm gonna give you a compliment, right? You know, whatever. But like the reason why people don't invest that $1,000 is because when you invest $1,000,
nobody can see it.
Nobody can see it. You don't get congratulations. You get no dopamine hit. You get no congratulations. So like the reason we buy expensive stuff instead of invest in expensive stuff is because we don't get no recognition for it. And people will do more for recognition than they will for money, which is crazy.
And that is crazy. And I think what goes on top of that, which will make it double crazy, a lot of people won't even admit that.
Oh,
right? Like they'll be like, yeah, I don't care what people think.
Playing yourself.
You know what I'm saying?
Never play yourself.
Right? Facts, right?
Yeah.
But it's to the point. I think you're right. You don't get the dopamine hit. You don't get the compliments. And no one knows if you got money or not, or if you look like you got money, if you actually invest in that money smart, because that's not something that somebody can track. They can't see it in the physical.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my dopamine hit is knowing that every time I wear my brand, I'm giving awareness to people about the brand I represent, and I'm getting to write it off on my taxes. Every time I buy these shirts for my home company at cost, I get to write off the cost. Not only the cost of the clothing is tax deductible, but every time I take this shirt to the cleaners, it's tax deductible as well. So now I'm getting 2 write-offs for wearing my own brand.
So you mentioned earlier, we were talking about how people perceive the tax code like they're afraid. You know what I'm saying? Taxes, I'm scared. You know what I'm saying? So for people that are like, you know what, Carter's making some really good points. I actually want to pay more attention to taxes. I might do some study. I might hit the library. You know what I'm saying? What are some of the things that, or not necessarily things, but what are some of the tools, hacks, tracking ways that people can start to employ if they want to start tracking their expenses? For taxes.
Yeah. So QuickBooks is the best expense tracking app that you can use for tracking your expenses. And I don't have an affiliation with QuickBooks. They owe me an affiliate link. But QuickBooks is the expense tracking app, meaning if I went and swiped for this Lamborghini right here today, but before I got home, QuickBooks had already uploaded and categorized that transaction based off what the software thinks it is. You know what I'm saying? Because they have millions upon millions of data points. So now the biggest thing with business owners is we don't track our expenses.
That's what I was asking.
We can't write off what we don't track. Yeah. So if you set up a system like set up QuickBooks and link your business credit card to QuickBooks, every time you swipe, all those transactions go into a central hub, and not just go there, but QuickBooks automatically categorizes it based off because it knows so much because it's seen millions of transactions every year. So now it makes your job easier. All your expenses are tracked and you're able to write off everything. Like when I look at entrepreneurs' businesses, especially like the ones starting out to 6 figures, they're missing out on $10,000, $20,000 in savings just by not having a system set up to track their expenses. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Like, that's one of the reasons I was asking.
Yeah, I
want to know, like, for the people that don't have systems set up, what should they use? What should some of the new behavior patterns be? What are some of the ways they should now start, teaching themselves to create new habits or new paradigm shifts? They're like, okay, I'm gonna check this weekly. I'm gonna do this monthly. What are some of those things that people start doing?
Yeah, I think number one, business owners need to start out their business as if they plan to be 6 and 7 figure earners.
That one's deep.
You know what I'm saying? So some people start a business
just start a business,
like act like, I ain't.
I've been there.
You know, like, and if we start out with the 6 or 7 figure mindset, we'll structure our business properly to be able to hit the 6 or 7 figure marks. And one of those things to do is to get your LLC, get your EIN, all that basic stuff, but get your business bank account set up, right? Because you want to separate your personal assets from your business assets. You don't want to be using your personal account for business expenses and vice versa. You want to have a system set up, meaning like, yo, this account is for my business expenses. This account is for my business taxes. This account is for my business reinvestment. Like, you want to have these accounts set up so that you can give your money a job. Because if you don't give your money a specific destination of where it can go, it's gonna get lost in the shuffle.
I saw how you said that, bro.
Yeah.
So, and I've been there too, where it's like you have a business, you got one account. You know what I'm saying? Everything, you usually got one account. So over time I learned, you know what I'm saying, like you mentioned, you can have the multiple accounts. So your business so your money has different designations, right? You can even have multiple bank accounts for your business.
Absolutely.
So I think just those two things, as far as awareness for what people can do, we didn't even talk about leverage and other opportunities that can come from things like that. But I think that piece right there, if you guys didn't know about that, you should definitely take that away right there.
Yeah.
Because if you got one account,
all money going in and out of one account, you ain't tracking nothing. So everybody at home, read this book. It's called Profit First by Mike McAllister. I call like the entrepreneur Bible when it comes to financial principles. You know what I'm saying? And it teaches you to have multiple accounts for each business you have, right? So you can have income account, expense account, tax account. And there's multiple reasons why you should have that. But one of the dope reasons is that when I ask my audience why they don't start a business or what's their issue with growing their business, it's because I don't have enough funding. That's the top thing. So I'm like, okay, how can I fix this? So one thing I learned was that when you have multiple accounts for your business, right? Let's say you have an income account, an expense account, and a tax account. All your income is coming to your income account, and your expenses are coming out of your expense account, and your taxes, you're setting aside money for taxes every year. When you apply for a business credit card, they just ask you for 3 to 6 months of business bank statements. But they didn't say which bank statements you have to give them, right? So you're not going to give them the expense account that has all these receipts that Chipotle and travel. You're not going to give them the tax account that has the tax bills you're paying the IRS. You're going to give them the statements to your expense account, their income account, because your income account has all these deposits coming in and a few transfers coming out. So once I started doing this, I started getting my credit card approval rate to 80%.
yeah, that's crazy right now.
Right? Because I'm giving them an account that looks so clean. It has 30, 40, 50 deposits coming in each month, but it has 2 transfers, like 1 transfer to my tax account each month and 1 transfer to my expense account each month. So it's like all this business making all this money and it's only having 2 outgoing expenses. Of course we'll know.
That's crazy. Did you get that from that book too?
I got that from principles from the book, but actually experience in dealing with like bank finance.
So that's crazy. So basically, you're really just showing them the clean account, like you said, with all of the bread in there, coupled with a good personal account that you might PG for your business, and then like you pretty much got it.
Yeah, I got multiple credit cards with 6-figure businesses.
That's
off running that play.
Yeah. I mean, that could have just been the podcast right there.
I'm gonna get you out of the game. I'm gonna get you out of the game. But you asked me for the biggest tax strategy. So so the closest one, but my favorite one.
So we got the cars, we got the clothes.
Got the cars, got the clothes. And now let's talk about like where you live. Right.
About to say trips.
You going on trips?
We can go trips. I mean, let's go home first.
Let's go home. Let's go home.
So make this ball with this hurricane behind me.
Right.
And they R8 and they both spotters. Crazy.
Oh man. Hey, look, this can all be possible.
Look at black.
No, it's beautiful. Beautiful thing. You get me? I'm gonna end up leaving one of these. But so there's a play called and I love this play so much because it wasn't made for us. It was made for white people.
Was any of this made for us? Yo, I think you need a book. This wasn't made for us.
This wasn't made for us. They didn't want to see us win. Congratulations, you played yourself. But yeah, so this rule is called the Augusta.
Augusta.
So like for the Augusta National Golf Tournament.
Oh, okay. So that Augusta.
Yeah,
okay.
that Augusta, yeah.
All right.
So basically in Augusta, Georgia, they have the golf tournament there every year, the Masters. And the wealthy people who lived in Augusta were renting their house out to people coming to travel for the tournament. They was making bread. They can rent their house up $1,000, like $2,000, whatever. And they like, yo, we don't want to recognize this income on our taxes. And so the government did what they wanted to do.
When was this, bro?
I think it was 1960, I want to say. 1970.
Okay, so all right, so I'll tell the story.
Okay, I gotta look up the thing.
Because I got a question, but maybe you might answer.
Okay, so they're like, we don't want to recognize the income on our taxes. So the government came up with this Augusta rule, which says if you rent out your primary residence for 14 days or less per year, you don't have to recognize that income on your taxes.
Free money.
Free money. You can get this money for as long as it's less than 2 weeks or less, you won't even tax you on that money.
Free money.
Free money. So business owners got smart. Wait a second. Okay, I see what you're doing there. So if I own a business and my business address is separate from my primary address, which everybody listening do not have your primary address as your business address, that's public information. Somebody can come and pull up on you. You don't want that, right? So if you have a primary residence that you own, so like you can't rent this to only homeowners. If you have a primary residence that you own and you have a business, you can rent out your home to your business
As long as it's 14 days or
long as
less.
it's 14 days or less.
Free money.
Free money. And right, people are like, okay, well, you have to be doing actual business activity in your house. Cool. What we doing right now?
Business activity.
Creating content, right? So all I gotta do is pick 14 days a year to shoot content in my home regarding to my business. And I can charge my business whatever reasonable rate I want to. So let's say it's $500 a night, right? I do rent comps, $500 a night. So 500 times 14 is $7,000. So I can cut my business cut me a check for $7,000. I don't have to report that income, and my business gets a $7,000 tax deduction for renting my primary residence.
So you got the bread
And the deduction.
and the deduction,
Right.
and the content.
And the
If you
content.
make money on the content,
Bro,
come on,
can I take it a little bit further?
please.
So, this is free game, y'all. The IRS didn't tell us what days we had to pick. So, if I'm being a smart person, well, what event did we have in Los Angeles last year? Big event. There was a lot. Football.
Yeah, Super Bowl. I was gonna say you also had the World Series.
That's true. Okay. Touche. Perfect example. But we had the.
You also had Kobe Day.
So living in Los Angeles is a good. It's a good place when you're running this play, right?
Yep.
So if I get to pick the days, I'm gonna pick the days when my city has the most activity. Because guess what? When your city has a lot of activity, the rent comps go up. So now I might have only been able to get $500 a day in rent comps. Now if I rent it out during the Super Bowl, I'm getting $1,000 a day. Mm-hmm. So now I'm just
minimum.
So now I just took my deduction from $7,000 to $14,000 by just picking the right days. Crazy.
Right off, right in your pocket.
Content.
And you made money. And the content. And the content evergreen.
Information changes situations. What I mention tells all the time. Information changes situations. And the more you learn, the more you earn. That's why we gotta be in the desperation to get new information.
And that's crazy, bro. So two things. One, what I was gonna ask you is, when the city of Augusta got together, it was like, yo, we don't want to pay taxes on this money. And you maybe that's, maybe you've heard of this or not, but did they lobby the government for that? Like how, like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming they did because they got passed really.
That's what I'm saying. So they had to be.
Well, you know what? I guess who got all the money. Like, bro, golfers. Like, you know what I'm saying? That whole society plus the companies that are endorsing the Masters, bro. It didn't take long for that.
Yeah,
to
you're right.
Pass, bro.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to have influence, you got to have money. You know what I'm saying? That's a very rich event. So I'm sure it was easily passed, dog.
That's crazy, man. And then as far as like just your passion and interest, I would even say love for the knowledge, especially around taxes and just being more versed and more knowledgeable on like how to move and navigate. Where would you think, like, where did that come from?
I believe if you're gonna do something, like, be the best at it, bro. And I don't feel like there are many Black accountants or Black CPAs that are representing for our culture the right way. You know what I'm saying? And I saw there was a void. Like, all right, the reason that we're scared of taxes is because we, just like anybody else, we fear what we don't understand.
Yeah.
So if I can not only
And we avoid it because we don't understand.
And we
because
avoid
we're
it.
afraid of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So if I could make taxes fun, like if I can make taxes interesting for the kid that's on the south side of Chicago, like I grew up, or the starting out business owner, or whatever the case, like I don't want to teach these strategies on a mind level or a mindset level where most people can't understand it. I want to take the complex information and make it distillable to the people. And I didn't see that many people doing this. So when I saw the lane, I'm like, okay, bet this is the lane I'm pushing.
That's smart, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and I love it. Like, I actually like
You, and that's why I said, like, the love, the impact, the passion, like, I can see it. Yeah. I met you through Neo. Like, we're in this program. When did you get that aspect of it? Like, when you were like, okay, cool, I'm teaching it, I can learn it, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm learning it, I can teach it, I'm distilling the information. But there's a whole digital side, which is different money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when did that become okay, this is another opportunity for me? Because there's a lot of business owners that still don't understand the digital side. Like if you're making crazy bread and like on the physical side, when I say physical, I mean like just doing things that you're doing, like your product, your service, like in real life, real time. There's a whole digital side that people still don't know exists or that they can actually make. I was talking to a lot of people even over the weekend. I'm like, there's some things that we can do because you moving, you got followers, you making cash. Like, I can see what you got going on. Have you thought about this? They're like, no. Yeah. And I do have a book, but it's on Amazon, and I sold 8,000 copies.
And I got to feel it.
But I got 40,000 and no data.
Yeah.
So like, when did it all come together for you? Like, when did you start? When did it like? Yeah. Like, when did it come together?
It came together only because of COVID happened. And I say that so I was one of those experts that was like, yo, like I'm a CPA, but I got my master's degree in accounting, I got all this. Like, I'm not selling no courses. Like, people pay me top dollar for my information, for my knowledge. And so my homie, like, you should create a course. I'm like, bro, I got time for that. I got people paying me $10,000, $20,000 to work with me. I'm not doing that little stuff, and he checked me one day. He was like, yo, like, how selfish are you that because somebody can't pay you $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 to get your information, you gonna let them out, leave them out to start? Like, you're not gonna build something where somebody who doesn't have that money yet can afford to learn from you? Like, how selfish is that? You came from the hood, bro. Like, you're not gonna give something, you're not gonna create something that somebody with a little less income can afford? Damn. Like, that hit me hard. I didn't sleep that night. And I was like, okay. But then COVID happened, it slowed everything down.
All the physical stuff.
All the physical stuff in the in-person meetings. So I had like more time. Like, let me try to create this ebook, right? Where I can just teach people the basics about taxes, 30, 40, I don't know how much I was charged for it. And then like, I did it, I dropped it, bro. And like in a day, I made like $5,000. And I'm like, I would have to like give somebody an hour, 2 hours of my time to make that type of money. Mm-hmm. And then also I just helped 100 people.
Yeah.
And learn more
with no time.
With no time.
You did the time on the front end.
Exactly.
When you sold it, you was around, but you wasn't helping all 100 of them.
What can I create one time that will pay me forever?
Facts.
And I did that. I'm like, oh, wait a second. So I created a book, I created a course, and then I ended up joining Neil's program that taught me how to amplify my digital product suite. And it's got to a point where I was had the freedom to fire the clients that didn't want to work with me. I like that. That was dope. Like, somebody, you can't pay to inconvenience me. Somebody paid me $30,000. I'm like, okay, I don't like this person. Anybody paid me that. Like, no, don't need your money, bro. Like, and it gave me a certain type of freedom to serve who and in the capacity that I want to serve. And that was, the ultimate freedom I can ask for.
So your man had to put you to the side and be like, yo, bro, you fucking up.
Yeah, just more like, it's just like, in a hard time, like, bro, like, it's selfish. That's, and like, again, for those of you all that don't want to sell digital products, it's not about you. Mm. You have expertise that the world needs to learn about. You're going to make somebody go to college and pay $40,000 a year to go learn from somebody who is not doing what they want to do, or who is not being who they want to become. You're going to make them pay that institution $160,000 a year to learn something that you could teach somebody for a couple $1,000.
And then by the time they get out of it,
Now they got to get a job to pay the loan back because they can't even afford to think freely because they had $100,000 student.
and the information is dated. And why do you need 4 years to learn something you can learn in a month or a couple of weeks?
So
Or do while you're learning.
because the real learning comes from experience,
That's what I'm saying.
right? So that's when I was like, this digital education business is bigger than me. It's about giving people a resource they can tap in for cheaper and giving them still high value information that they can take and apply immediately and help change their situation.
What's up, y'all? So I want to take a second to speak to my creators. So whether you currently got a podcast or think about launching a podcast, maybe you got a YouTube channel and you think about launching a YouTube channel. Here are the facts. Did you know that 9 out of 10 creators actually quit because they don't have anyone to hold them accountable? That's why all you need to do, right? Click that link below, join my Action Takers community, because not only are we gonna hold you accountable, we're gonna teach you how to execute at a higher level. Plus, give you access to principles and strategies to grow your mindset and generate more revenue. So what are you waiting for? Click that link below and join one of the fastest growing content and accountability communities, all right? I'll see you on the inside.
So recently, man, you had a pretty big day, I would say. Not too long ago.
Yeah.
Right? So arriving at that big day, what was your mindset around the big day? So obviously there was like stepping points, you know what I'm saying? Like checkpoints. So having the thought that you could have a big day like the big day that you had, what was that like? Because you couldn't do that on the other side. That was only possible through the digital and with the information.
Yeah.
So knowing that you could achieve something like that, which is still a checkpoint because there's so much more you can achieve. What did that feel like, being around other people that hit certain checkpoints and like, yo, this is actually something possible?
Yeah, man. And most people don't understand. So I invested $100,000 in my personal development before that day happened. And that's what most people don't see, because I knew that we can achieve a lot of stuff because we don't think it. If your mind doesn't think that it's possible, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Period. Right. So I understand that you have to change your environment. Like once the brain is exposed to something greater, it can't be unexposed. So I went and paid $100,000 and something to be in the room of people hitting this milestone, right? So I paid, one, to get the information, but also to get around people that did it. Because the relationships, and like, you look like me. If you can do it, no disrespect to you, I can do it too. Because you prove that you can do it. So for me, I think that it's so important. Everybody listening at home or whatever, like if your goal is to make $10,000 a month, go hang around people that making 50. It's gonna make 10 sound like a joke. If you wanna make $10,000 a month, go hang around people that's making 100. It's gonna make 10 seem like pennies on the dollar, right? So I think it's so important that we get exposed and hang around people that make us a little bit uncomfortable financially, whatever, right? Yeah. Because the growth is in isn't getting out of your comfort zone. So once I did that and I paid to get in that room, it made that having that big day a lot easier, because there were people that had 7x that, 5x that. So for me, I was like, oh shit, but this is, if somebody had 5x, I can't do what? Say less. Yeah. So that was a big proponent for it.
What did I feel like when you achieved that?
It was a couple days of disbelief.
Seeing it, it was like,
it was a couple days of disbelief, bro. It was a day of gratitude. I remember that night I just didn't talk to anybody. I went and just prayed on my building has like a rooftop area. I just prayed for like the rest of the night. And the next 2 days it didn't seem real. And then when it happened, it was like, okay, well, like kind of what's next, which shows me that money isn't, you know, like people say money doesn't make you happier. I mean, it makes you free mentally, but I'm not any more genuinely happy than I was before. So it was crazy.
What would be next, bro?
I'm in a place of give a contribution right now. Once you, and people like, somebody hit me like, yo, run it back to make that much money again. Yeah. I'm like, I don't really want to do that right now. I want to spend my time in a moment of like gratitude and contribution. I want to use the money to love the people and not love the money and use the people. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
So I'm taking a moment to take a step back, what do I want to donate to? Who do I want to pour into? Like, let me make sure I fully give the value that I promised the people that paid me, right? I'm in an extreme moment of contribution and giving and gratitude. And I might stay in this moment for like a month or so and then get back to it. But like, life is it's seasons, bro. Like, you can't be chasing all day, every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have to take a moment, step back, give God the glory if that's what you believe in, and take care of the people you say you're gonna take care of, then go back.
Man, I love that, bro. I'm with you on that.
I mean, I'm not like, I'm just in such a place of peace right now, man. I'm just trying to make sure that I stay there.
So, is it okay to share people the victory? You want to tell them?
Yeah, so we did $1.1 million in a day.
24 hours.
24 hours, did $1.1 million. And last year was my first millionaire year. Like, I just hit it. Like,
In a year.
barely. And I was like, because one of my goals. So we hit it last year, but like barely. And then so one of my goals, like, become a millionaire before 30. So like that was my 30th year. And then to have that next year, do $1 million in a day, that's crazy. But what it shows me, something what my mentor tells me, is that it's easier to make a lot of money in a little time than make a little money in a lot of time. And he would say that. I'm like, yeah, bro, I don't get it. I mean, I hear you, but it don't really work that way, bro.
Yeah.
Until it does. And you're like, oh shit, like it was really actually easy.
Yo, you know what's crazy about that too? It's like you will hear things, but it's like it's either that moment or that person or the way you heard it that all of a sudden it's like it just clicks, bro.
That's why you have to that's why you have to consistently read, get in the room, because you might hear the same phrase, but you're in a different place you were. So now you're able to really grab that phrase versus you weren't there yet. So when people ask me, like, why do I spend so much time reading, learning, and investing in these different programs? Because like, yo, one piece of information can change anything for me, bro. And I'm at a place where like, I just want to continue evolving, because if we're not growing, we're dying. And I just want to keep evolving.
You're in your season of giving right now, right? Your season of impact. So I kind of want to play into that a little bit. So maybe you already thought about this. Maybe this is on vision board, on a dream board. But if you were making a Carter Cofield Academy, you know what I'm saying? What are 3 or 4 pillars that they can't graduate? Like they have to graduate with these things instilled in them to be, powerful beings after they come out of your academy. What would those 4 things be?
Integrity, entrepreneurship, effort, and financial literacy.
That's a big one.
Yeah, I can leave that out, right? So financial literacy, entrepreneurship, effort, and integrity.
Those are all great ones.
Because you got to have all those. Because if you don't have integrity, you're going to use the money. You're going to use the people who love the money. You're not going to, you're going to use your financial literacy for things that you don't need to be using for. If you don't have integrity, your efforts are going to be in the wrong place. So I think all those go together. It will build up an amazing academy. And I am thinking about building a not-for-profit arm to my business to kind of build something like that out. But, it'll come in time.
All right, bet. What does your millionaire morning routine look like? So what was the mindset that you got into, or what were the routine that you've been doing that led up to you becoming the person that you are?
Yeah, and my morning routine defines why you're in the first place.
Let's hear it.
Period. I'll give you the reason then the routine.
I'm with.
If you just roll over and start your day, anybody's priorities and impact can just really influence you, right? You gotta get in the state where I like to think of it. I'm building a silo of unbreakable silo around me. So your problems, your requests, none of that stuff can break me because you can't even touch me, right? So my morning routine changed everything for me. I've been doing it about 3 years now. First thing I do, I wake up, cold shower, change your physical state, your mental state, your body's fully awake. Then I play some happy music to get myself not only transformed like physically and woken up, but like in a positive
What's
spirit.
your happy song?
American Team by Khalid is probably my number 1 song.
That's a dope.
I'll play, it's just like a happy, a happy song.
Do you have a happy playlist?
Yeah, I have it's called Crazy Vibes playlist. I'll send it to you. And I put a playlist on shuffle. I have my favorite songs. Read my gratitude as I'm brushing my teeth. So the things I'm to be grateful for. Then I stretch and listen to something motivational. So it's an app called Pep Talk. That is a whole bunch of inspirational videos.
Is every time something?
Everybody who ever
they be going crazy on.
Yeah, everybody who's ever spoken anything
is on it.
is on there.
That's pretty dope.
So I'm doing yoga. I'm stretching. I got my son out while I'm listening. It's about 20 minutes of that. After I'm stretching and everything, I do my meditation. I use the Calm app. 10 to 15 minutes of meditation. Then I prayed for about 10 minutes. Biggest thing, no cell phone.
So you use your cell phone to go through your things at all?
Everything is on auto do not disturb. It's on do not disturb. I can't even get a notification.
Gotcha.
Between 11 p.m. and 7
But you use your cell phone to get into the app.
Yeah. I had to put the blinders on so I couldn't even see anything.
You just focus on that.
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing is no phone in the morning because you don't want somebody else's agenda affecting your day. That first hour of the day, if you can't dedicate the first hour of your day to yourself, then you don't value yourself enough as a person.
So I definitely do that in my own way in the morning because I live on my morning routine. Bro. I get up early. I'm pretty sure you do too. And like I need that.
Yeah.
I thrive off of that.
Early or late, you're not getting a touch of me until after an hour after I woke up. So you've been woke up at 5 or 6.
Forward to
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, where's 4 o'clock coming?
It's non-negotiable, man.
Yeah, facts.
It's non-negotiable. You start your day off with that type of intentionality. The rest of your day is easy.
So do you scream in the cold showers?
Nah.
But you used to?
Yeah, the first 3-4 months was like, yo. But now, like, I don't start a day without a cold shower. I want to get a cold plunge so I can get
cold. My guy who's actually Myron's son Anthony, he told me about it.
Yes, like, Myron does it every day.
He told me about Fred, but he told me he got Myron on and all that. But I was on the phone. I was actually on FaceTime with him when Anthony, shout out to Anthony Golden, when he actually got he had just gotten the cold plunge. He has it outside in his balcony. You know what I'm saying? And so he broke it out. I was like, yo, straight.
How much would them cost?
I think it took me cost like $3. I think he said cost like $3. He showed me it's pretty nice. Yeah, it's nice. And he has it on his balcony. He's in Tampa, so you know.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's just Because my shower only gets like 50 something. That's not that cold.
Yeah, I mean, you cold one is like you can do it in LA, bro. Like,
yeah.
Do you got a balcony? Is your balcony big enough?
Yeah.
Probably.
Look at it. Loaded.
You gotta let me know.
Oh, you can try it out. To me, let you know. Yeah.
Yo, Back to the Future, bro. We're in a time machine. We just jumped in the hurricane. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Back to the Future.
You know what I'm saying? We hit the button. Mm-hmm. It's going crazy. Bang. You're seeing your younger self. Mm-hmm. What are 2 things you tell your younger self? And this might be right after you lose your parents.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a good point.
2 things.
2 things. Number 1 is... Oh man, that's good. God dang. Okay, number 1,
you can't get back in.
Like he has to get it. Yeah, you gotta get it. Yeah. If you want to have an above average income, you must first become an above average person. That's right. So I would tell myself, just focus on becoming the most valuable person you can be, and you'll never have to worry about it. Period. Yeah. So that'd be number 1. And number 2 would be replace entertainment with education. Please.
Son,
my life changed when I put down Madden and Call of Duty, and I picked up a book.
So I think I have like a 2-part to that. So I think I'll lock in with that frequency during the Kaepernick situation because I just didn't like that. Mm-hmm. So that turned me off on all sports. Mm-hmm. I was just like, this don't make no sense. They're already millionaires. I'm not.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna watching
they score. I don't know the score of my own life.
This don't make This don't make no sense. And then when I stopped playing Madden 2 and 2K, I was like, let me pick up a book, see what up. You know what I'm saying? But when I moved to LA, which was 4 years ago, that was literally, I challenged myself because I Googled somewhere. It was like, the average millionaire is like $60 books a year, something like
52 was like the minimum.
Yeah, something like that. And then that year, once I read that, I was like, oh, I got to do that. And it was a combination between physical books and audio books. I did 2020, but I read 68 books that year, and it felt good. And it was like, I'm like, yo, this is easy, bro.
Yeah.
2020, I can do this.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I think education is fun, bro. Like it can be fun. Like learning like you said, things is only difficult, or things are only fearful, or things are only like seem like so big when you don't know. And it's only because you don't know. But like once you know, it's easy, or it becomes simple. You know what I'm saying? And then you're able to like not only free yourself or put yourself in a position, you're able to help others. So I think that's a big one. I like when you said that.
Huge.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's worked for me, and it worked for me. It worked for anybody else.
All right, so we're gonna head off on this, man. What are you on the pursuit towards right now? You had a big day in the season of impact. What about, I mean, outside of business, what about for you?
It's good to learn who I am as a man. So diving deeper into therapy, breaking down the walls I put up for like defensive purposes.
Yeah.
And I'm just really like in tune with getting to know who I am, like as a man. And so when I do have a family or relationship, I'm able to tell that person who I am full-heartedly and not know who I am, right? I want to know my goods, my bads, my faults, and all that stuff. So I'm really just in self-discovery mode. And I'm dating myself. I'm getting to learn more about me this probably past 24 months now. Yeah. Got to learn that.
I like that. So very, very intentional.
Yeah.
Sure. Listen, bro, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? We finally did it.
It was worth the wait. Y'all can't say it wasn't worth the wait.
At all. We got a car right here. This car is like $155. This one behind us is $355. You know what I'm saying? And it's all it's listen, we're running a lot of money, melanin money, millionaire mindset. And this has been great, bro. I really appreciate it.
I have to run it back.
I'm looking forward to coming on your platform. Oh, at some point. Oh, it's happening.
Stop. You know it's happening. Right.
All right, y'all. So look, thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow Carter. Where can they find you?
Cofield_advisor on all platforms, or go to melaninmoney.com. You'll have all of our resources there.
And you got a couple of books. You can
yeah, we'll link my tax for living ebook in the show notes as well.
Yeah, and when should they get ready for taxes?
Yes, man. Definitely. Yeah.
All right.
Right here. Yeah. Yes.
All right, man. We'll see y'all on another episode on The Pursuit. Let's go.
Peace.